Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1943 Cleveland Buckeyes Negro American League baseball season. This was the second of 8 years that the Cleveland Buckeyes were around. In 42, they played both in Cincinnati and Cleveland, but in 43 onward, they just played in Cleveland. And they played in the Negro American League, the junior circuit of Negro League baseball. Home games for the Buckeyes were played at League Park on the east side. The Buckeyes had an outstanding year in 1943. They finished in first. They had the best overall record, finished in first place with a record of 38-21, winning percentage of .644, really good. The second place team was the Kansas City Monarchs, 47-26, a half game out of first. Third place, the Birmingham Black Barons, 44-34. Fourth place, the Chicago American Giants, 34-33. Fifth place, the Memphis Red Sox, 30-48. And sixth and last place, the Cincinnati Clowns, 31-57, winning percentage of .352, 21.5 games out of first. Unfortunately, the Buckeyes did not make the playoffs because under the arrangements of that year, there was a first half of the season champion that played the second half of the season champion in the playoffs. And the Buckeyes finished first overall, but in second place for each half of the season. It's kind of like the 1981 season where there was a baseball strike, and they strike in the middle of the season. There was the first half winner would play the second half winner. And the Cincinnati Reds, the best overall record in MLB in 1981, didn't make the playoffs. So the first half champion was the Birmingham Black Barons, and they faced the second half champion, the Chicago American Giants, in the Negro American League Championship Series after the regular season. And Birmingham won that 3-2 to advance to the Negro League World Series. Again, the Second World War was raging in 1943. The German army was trapped in Stalingrad and was very well portrayed in the movie Enemy at the Gates in the Soviet Union. Benito Mussolini was ousted from power in Italy, and the all-black U.S. 99th Fighter Squadron was involved in the fighting in the Sicilian and Italian airspace as a part of the war effort. The Nazi Germany initiated the pogrom in the Warsaw Ghetto against the Jewish folks there, trying to starve them out and have them arrested and taken to the death camps as a part of the Holocaust. Horrible, very tragic. In the U.S., the Office of Defense Transportation banned the use of gasoline for pleasure driving because so much gasoline was needed for the war effort. Negro League teams were not allowed to use team buses for travel, and this didn't make any sense, but this was the government ruling. They could use either a train, a regular bus, or private cars. And this was a real problem because the trains were expensive, often didn't take them where they needed to go. And so anyway, later in the year it was relaxed so they could use their buses, which they really needed to use. During this era, sports writer Shirley Povich watched Negro League teams during their spring training, and he said this, quote, "There's a couple $1 million worth of baseball talent on the loose, ready for the big leagues, yet unsigned by any major league. There are pitchers who would win 20 games this season for any big league club that offered them contracts. And there are outfielders who could hit .350, infielders who could win quick recognition as stars. And there is at least one catcher who at this writing is probably superior to Bill Dickey, Josh Gibson. Only one thing is keeping them out of the big leagues, the pigmentation of their skin." Whitey Grueller, sports editor for the Atlantic City Press Union, wrote in July 1942, quote, "We are fighting a war, the most terrible war in all history. We are spending billions of dollars. Our youth is shedding barrels and barrels of blood. Every day is one of heartache and tragedy. And what are we fighting for? Freedom and democracy. But some of us seem to have forgotten that freedom and democracy are the human rights for which we fought the Civil War." Now, in 1943, the Homestead Grays played home games in Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C., so they were called the Washington Homestead Grays. And at Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C., the Grays had better attendance than the Senators. Washington, D.C. had a large, affluent black community. Because of war restrictions and transportation issues, in 1943 the Buckeyes had spring training in Canton, Ohio. And they, as I said, they were traveling by train and forbidden to use the team bus. In a June doubleheader, the Buckeyes played the Chicago American Giants at League Park in Cleveland, and during the game there was a 45-minute brawl, which reportedly, quote, interrupted the tranquility of Cleveland's baseball vista. There was a fly ball while the Chicago was batting, and Buckeyes outfielder Duke Cleveland made a diving catch. The Giants claimed that the ball was trapped. In other words, it hit the ground first. And so it was a big argument, and the two Giants players were rejected. The Giants refused to continue because they said they didn't have enough players. Wilbur Hayes, the general manager of the Buckeyes, decided to let the ejected players continue to play so they could finish this. And actually, the Giants swept the Buckeyes in that doubleheader. Bob Williams, a sports writer, wrote, quote, "The Bucks have a clean record with no stigma of any sort. For effort, they rate 100%. On the road, the Bucks have played cleanly and well, earning the admiration of their opponents as well as out-of-town fans." In July of '43, the Buckeyes had promotional posters, which included Buster Brown, who had died in 1942. Mexican League teams were trying to lure Negro League players to Mexico, and at one point there were Mexican scouts at Ford Fields in Pittsburgh watching a Buckeyes Homestead Grays game, including the Consul of Mexico, who was removed from the game. Wilbur Hayes from the Cleveland Buckeyes front office wrote, quote, "Well, I'm not letting anybody come along to fool with my efforts after we begin to enjoy a little success." Bob Williams wrote, quote, "Cleveland still has a good club, all things considered, but doggone it, we'd like to stop using that expression." In August, Eugene Bremer of the Buckeyes had a one-hit shutout of the Memphis Red Sox at League Park. Really good. Now, the Buckeyes' player-manager in 1943 was Parnell Woods, who was the regular third baseman. Woods batted .323 with 30 hits. He scored 10 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 10 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, and 4 walks in 25 games. Woods played for the Cleveland Bears from 1939 to 1940, the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. Parnell Woods. Raymond Taylor was the catcher. Taylor batted .128 with 6 hits. He scored 3 runs, had a double, 3 RBIs, 3 walks in 17 games. Taylor played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. He played for the Cleveland Clippers in the minor leagues in 1946. He was born in 1910 in Memphis, Tennessee. For his career, he batted .163 with 56 hits. He scored 30 runs, 8 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 33 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 21 walks in 118 games. Raymond Taylor. Archie Ware was the first baseman. Ware batted .273 with 35 hits. He scored 11 runs, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 18 RBIs, 3 walks in 36 games. Ware played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. Ware was born in 1918 in Greenville, Florida, and died in 1990 in Los Angeles, California at age 72. For his career, he batted .279 with 158 hits. He scored 76 runs, 23 doubles, 5 triples, 2 home runs, 84 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 35 walks in 154 games. Archie Ware. Marshall Riddle played second base. Riddle batted .220 with 22 hits. He scored 11 runs, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 8 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 7 walks in 29 games. Riddle played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. His professional baseball career continued until 1951 when he was playing in the minor leagues. Riddle was born in 1918 in Warren, Arkansas, and died in 1988 in St. Louis, Missouri at age 70. For his career, he batted .275 with 111 hits. He scored 41 runs, 13 doubles, 10 triples, a home run, 46 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 37 walks in 118 games. Marshall Riddle. Billy Horn played shortstop. Horn batted .159 with 18 hits. He scored 10 runs, 2 doubles, 7 RBIs, a stolen base, 9 walks in 33 games. Horn played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1946. He was born in 1916 in Louisiana. For his career, he batted .213 with 121 hits. He scored 64 runs, 9 doubles, 6 triples, a home run, 48 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 50 walks in 162 games. Billy Horn. Duke Cleveland played left field. Cleveland batted .247 with 21 hits. He scored 11 runs, 2 doubles, a home run, 8 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 6 walks in 24 games. Cleveland played for the Cleveland Bears from 1939 to 1940, the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. So this was the end of his time in Cleveland. His Negro League baseball career continued until 1946. Duke Cleveland. Sam the Jet Jethro played center field and was a star player. He batted .310 with 44 hits, 28 runs, 12 doubles, 4 triples, a home run, 14 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 5 walks in 36 games. Jethro played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. Jethro was born in 1917 in Lowndes County, Mississippi, and died in 2001 in Erie, Pennsylvania at age 84. For his career in the Negro Leagues, he batted .314 with 181 hits, 118 runs scored, 41 doubles, 15 triples, 7 home runs, 84 RBIs, 36 stolen bases, 47 walks in 150 games. He also played in the major leagues, and for his career batted .261 with 49 home runs, 181 RBIs, and 98 stolen bases. Branch Rickey, general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, purchased Jethro from the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1947 for $5,000. He was sold to the Boston Braves in 1950 for $150,000. He was the first black player for the Boston Braves. In 1950, he was 32 years old and was the oldest player to become Rookie of the Year. In 2019, the International League announced that Jethro would be inducted into their Hall of Fame. He played 7 years in the minors in the International League. In 1943, Jethro was the MVP runner-up in the Negro American League behind Ted Doubleday Radcliffe. What an incredible career for Sam Jethro. Johnny Hundley played right field. He did a little catching. Hundley batted .271 with 26 hits. He scored 12 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 10 RBIs, 9 walks in 30 games. Hundley played for the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. This was the extent of his Negro League career. He batted 6th in the order, and in the field it was said he had iron hands and lacked appreciable defensive skills. For his career, he batted .268 with 26 hits, 12 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 10 RBIs, 9 walks in 32 games. Johnny Hundley. Thad Christopher played some left field. Christopher batted .246 with 14 hits. He scored 9 runs, 3 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 6 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks in 16 games. Christopher played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. He was born in 1912 in Tampa, Florida, and died in 1973 in Los Angeles, California at age 60. For his career, he batted .247 with 133 hits, 80 runs, 24 doubles, 5 triples, 11 home runs, 62 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 71 walks in 167 games. Thad Christopher. Henry Turner was a spare catcher. Turner batted .205 with 8 hits. He scored 3 runs, had a double, 4 RBIs, 3 walks in 16 games. Turner played for the Cleveland Bears from 1939 to 1940 and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943, and this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. Henry Turner. Willie Grace played some center field. Grace batted .208 with 5 hits. He scored 2 runs, 3 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks in 8 games. Grace played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948 and in 1950. Grace was born in 1917 in Memphis, Tennessee, and died in 2006 in Erie, Pennsylvania at age 89. For his career, he batted .294 with 89 hits. He scored 30 runs, 7 doubles, a triple, a home run, 41 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 19 walks in 85 games. Willie Grace. Johnny Johnson played some right field and did a little pitching. Johnson batted .150 with 3 hits. He scored in 20 at-bats. He had a triple, an RBI, 5 walks in 10 games. As a pitcher, he was 0-1 with an ERA of 5.40, 2 games, 1 start, which was a complete game, 11 2/3 innings pitched, and 5 strikeouts. And his Negro League baseball career was just with the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. Johnny Johnson. George Britt was a spare catcher. Britt batted .067 with 1 hit and 15 at-bats. He scored a run at an RBI in 6 games. Britt played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1944. Britt was born in 1895 in Lexington, Kentucky. For his career as a pitcher, he was 44-39 with an ERA of 4.16 and 394 strikeouts, 125 games, 83 starts, 56 complete games, 2 shutouts, 3 saves, 759 innings pitched. And as a hitter, he batted .275 with 196 hits, 89 runs, 27 doubles, 7 triples, 70 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, 48 walks in 275 games. What a fine career for George Britt. Quincy Smith played some left field. Smith batted .214 with 3 hits and 14 at-bats. He scored 3 runs, had a double, a stolen base, a walk in 6 games. Smith played for the Cleveland Buckeyes, Birmingham Black Barons, in the Mexican League for Mexico City, the Pittsburgh Crawfords, in the minor leagues in the Mississippi-Ohio Valley League from 1943 to 1946. He was a switch hitter. In the minor leagues, he batted .279, .313, .306, .317, .314, and .292. During those years, he had good power and had base-stealing ability. His brother Gene Smith was a Negro League pitcher. Smith was born in 1918 in Bienville Parish, Louisiana, and died in 2002 in Terre Haute, Indiana, at age 83. For his career, he batted .229 with 8 hits. He scored 7 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, a stolen base, a walk in 11 games. Quincy Smith. John Lyles played some shortstop. Lyles batted .091 with 1 hit and 11 at-bats. He scored a run, had a walk in 4 games. Lyles played for the Cleveland Bears in 1939, the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. And this was the end of his Negro League baseball career. John Lyles. Adolphus Grimes played some right field. Grimes batted .222 with 2 hits and 9 at-bats. He scored 2 runs, had 2 RBIs, a stolen base, a walk in 3 games. Grimes played for the Harrisburg St. Louis Stars and the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. He was born in 1913 in Greensboro, Georgia, and died in 1998 in Atlanta, Georgia, at age 84. For his career, he batted .235 with 4 hits. He scored 3 runs, 3 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks in 5 games. Adolphus Grimes. There's a player named Wilson, no first name indicated. He played center field, batted 5 times, did not have a hit in 1 game. And his Negro League career was just with the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943. Guy named Wilson. Now the pitching staff, the ace pitcher was Theolix Smith, who also played a little center field. His pitching record was 5-4 with an ERA of 2.22, 11 games, 10 starts, 8 complete games, 2 shutouts, 89 innings pitched, and 36 strikeouts. As a hitter, Smith batted .262 with 16 hits. He scored 12 runs, had 2 doubles, 11 RBIs, a stolen base, 10 walks in 23 games. They called him Fireball and Theo. He's a pitcher-outfielder in his career. Smith played for the Pittsburgh Crawfords, Toledo Crawfords, St. Louis Stars, New Orleans St. Louis Stars, Cleveland Buckeyes, Kansas City Monarchs, Chicago American Giants, in the Mexican League for Mexico City, in the minor leagues for San Diego, and the Pacific Coast League between 1936 and 1949. He was a fastball pitcher, good knuckler, good curve, and changeup, although he had control problems. He pitched in the 1939 East-West All-Star Game. In Mexico in 1944, he was 19-9. The following years in Mexico, he was 16-8, 13-11, 16-15, 15-16, and 11-10. In 1947, he was 22-10 in Mexico. In early 1943, Smith had 23 consecutive scoreless innings pitching for the Buckeyes, and he pitched in the 1943 East-West All-Star Game. 1944, at the height of World War II, 80,000 Mexican workers were exchanged so Smith and Quincy Troop could leave their defense jobs and play in Mexico. Smith was a good hustler in 4 years in the minors between ages 38 and 42. In San Diego in the Pacific Coast League, he was 27-29 and retired at age 41. He also had 2 winters playing baseball in Cuba and was 5-9 there. Smith was born in 1913 in Wabaseka, Arkansas, and died in 1981 in Compton, California at age 68. For his career, he was 15-15 with an ERA of 4.66, 56 games, 41 starts, 24 complete games, 5 shutouts, 2 saves, 305 and a third innings pitched, and 131 strikeouts. As a hitter, he batted .224 with 36 hits. He scored 28 runs, 5 doubles, a triple, 14 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 22 walks in 83 games. Deolic Smith. Willie Jefferson was 3-6 with an ERA of 5.07, 9 games, 8 starts, 7 complete games, 65 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 35 strikeouts. Jefferson batted .192 with 5 hits and 26 at-bats. He had an RBI, stolen base in 10 games. Jefferson played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1946. Jefferson was born in 1904 in Clearview, Oklahoma, and died in 1979 in Houston, Texas at age 75. For his career, he was 19-19 with an ERA of 4.04, 50 games, 34 starts, 25 complete games, 4 shutouts, 316 innings pitched, and 159 strikeouts. As a hitter, for his career, Jefferson batted .255 with 37 hits. He scored 15 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 18 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 4 walks in 60 games. Willie Jefferson. Eugene Bremer was 4-3 with an ERA of 4.94, 10 games, 8 starts, 7 complete games, a shutout, 62 innings pitched, and 20 strikeouts. Bremer batted .346, really good, 9 hits and 26 at-bats. He scored 5 runs, had 2 RBIs, a walk in 12 games. Bremer played for the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942 and the Cleveland Buckeyes from 1943 to 1948. He was born in 1916 in New Orleans, Louisiana, and died in 1971 in Cleveland, Ohio at age 54. For his career, he was 33-25 with an ERA of 3.13, 75 games, 57 starts, 44 complete games, 6 shutouts, 3 saves, 476 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 203 strikeouts. For his career, he batted .304, really good, 59 hits, 34 runs scored, 13 doubles, 4 triples, 21 RBIs, 11 walks in 92 games. And he had that 1-hit shutout of the Memphis Red Sox in August. What an amazing career for Eugene Bremer. Alonzo Boone was 3-2 with an ERA of 3.11, 7 games, 5 starts, 4 complete games, a shutout, 46 and a third innings pitched, and 19 strikeouts. Boone batted .182 with 4 hits and 22 at-bats. He scored 3 runs, had 2 doubles, 4 RBIs in 8 games. Boone pitched for the Cleveland Cubs in 1931, the Cleveland Bears from 1939 to 1940, the Cincinnati Cleveland Buckeyes in 1942, the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943, and 1945 to 1948, and in 1950. Alonzo Boone. Satchel Davis was 1-2 with an ERA of 8.83, 4 games, 3 starts, 17 and a third innings pitched, and 13 strikeouts. Satchel Davis batted 8 times, did not have a hit in 4 games. He played for the Baltimore Elite Giants, Cleveland Buckeyes, and Boston Blues in the minor leagues from 1940 to 1947. The Second World War, he had military service. He won a Negro American League title in 1947 with the Cleveland Buckeyes. He was born in 1918 in Greenville, Mississippi, and died in 2013 in Houston, Texas at age 94. For his career, he was 4-2 with an ERA of 3.91, 12 games, 8 starts, 3 complete games, a shutout, a save, 50 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 26 strikeouts. Davis batted .100 with 2 hits and 20 at-bats. In his career, he had scored a run, had a double, 2 RBIs, and a walk in 12 games. Satchel Davis. Finally, Nap Gully was 0-1 with an ERA of 5.63, 1 game, which was a start, 8 innings pitched, and 3 strikeouts. His given name was Napoleon, named after Napoleon Bonaparte. They called him Nap. He batted 3 times, did not have a hit, and had 1 walk in 1 game. Gully pitched for the Kansas City Monarchs, Chicago American Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Cleveland Buckeyes, the Harlem Globetrotters baseball team, in the Mexican League for Tampico, San Luis, and Mexico City, for the Newark Eagles, and the minor leagues in the Brooklyn Dodgers system for Visalia, Victoria, and Spokane, from 1941 to 1949. Gully had a good fastball, and his out pitch was an overhand drop curveball. However, he lacked control. His performance suffered because he tried to live up to his playboy image. He barnstormed in 1945 with double-duty Radcliffe for the Harlem Globetrotters baseball team. In 1956, he had a broken arm, which ended his baseball career. After he retired, he worked in the graphic arts and marketing and food processing in the restaurant business. Gully was born in 1924 in Huttig, Arkansas, and died in 1999 in Skokie, Illinois, at age 74. For his career, he was 0-3, with an ERA of 5.79. 4 games, all starts, 2 complete games, 281 innings pitched, and 16 strikeouts. For his career, he batted .333 with 5 hits and 15 at-bats. He scored a run, had 2 RBIs, a walk in 9 games. In the minor leagues, Gully batted .317 with 787 hits, 150 runs scored, 170 doubles, 23 triples, 74 home runs, 164 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, 116 games, and 682 games. This was his record in the minor leagues and in Mexico. Nap Gully. After the regular season, the Negro League World Series was played, and the Homestead Grays, Negro National League champions, the Washington Homestead Grays, Negro National League champions, defeated the Birmingham Black Barons, the Negro American League champions, 4-3. The games were played in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, Chicago at Comiskey Park, Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, Birmingham, Alabama, and Montgomery, Alabama. And Josh Gibson was 3 for 5 in the last game, which was Game 8. There had been a tie playing for Homestead. The top hitter in the Negro Leagues in 1943 was Josh Gibson for the Washington Homestead Grays. In the summer of 1943, Gibson was in and out of St. Elizabeth Hospital because of acute alcoholism, and he was tormented by personal demons. However, he was still the best hitter and set a Negro League record with 33 doubles in 1943. And the top pitcher in the Negro Leagues in 1943 was Johnny Wright for the Washington Homestead Grays. So that's the story of the 1943 Cleveland Buckeyes. They had a tremendous year to be proud of. God bless the guys who played, for the Cleveland Buckeyes in 1943 and everyone else associated with the team, including the fans, especially the Spanish-American War veterans, First World War veterans, and Second World War veterans. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life, Euclid Avenue electricity, Severance Hall stalwarts, Cleveland Museum of Art enthusiasts, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum rebels, Christmas Story House happy people, Museum of Contemporary Art maniacs, Cleveland Botanical Garden goers, Old Arcade admirers, Playhouse Square seers, Settlers Landing Park purists, Western Reserve Historical Society wonders, First Energy Stadium friends, Progressive Field pals, Quicken Loans arena enthusiasts, Tribe, Browns, Cavs, Monsters, and Gladiators and Fusion rule. Cleveland, City of Champions. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. Before you know it, it'll be opening day 2019, coming up real soon. This is our year. Go Tribe. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.